Hello, this is Mark from Productive Computing and Productive Computing University. You are about to watch a selected JSON lesson from our free course called JSON Fundamentals for FileMaker Developers. Knowing how to create, parse, and manipulate JSON is essential in order to integrate FileMaker with the world of APIs, Claris Connect, artificial intelligence, and more. In this complete course, we'll cover everything you need to know about JSON from the perspective of a Claris FileMaker Pro developer. We're making this course available for free because we feel it's an important and essential building block for you to understand in order to advance your skills to the next level. And once you learn how to manipulate JSON formatted text, you are that much closer to accomplishing your first API integration in your own FileMaker apps. And like all our other courses at Productive Computing University, this course comes complete with downloadable FileMaker files for you to use and follow along with. These downloadable files are available directly in selected lessons inside the course. There's a link in the description to enroll in this free course called JSON Fundamentals for FileMaker Developers at productivecomputinguniversity.com. Okay, now let's dive into the lesson. In this lesson, we demonstrate how to create a JSON array using one particular method. This is part 1. It builds on the information from the previous lesson, and you can reference this from the downloadable file below this video. Here's my sample file that we've been working on. And just to recap, we'll focus on this script step that puts the entire record in a single calculation. Here are the 4 fields: name, company, age, mailing list. So now our job will be to get this record and put it into an array with a key of contacts. So I'll create a brand new script, create JSON all records. So now that we're iterating over multiple records, we're no longer going to be using this JSON static field here. I suppose I could make it a global, but instead let's modernize this, completely remove this field from the equation. This will ruin our existing script steps, but that's okay, because we'll have them as a reference on the previous version of this file. All right, and we will borrow this part of the calculation for the record portion. So I'll copy that to my clipboard, and I'll go back here, and we will set a variable, and I'll make it a single dollar variable or a local variable called record. And inside of this variable, I want to store just the record itself. As a separate script step. So now I've captured my record. And now I want to take this record and insert it inside an array. So for that, I will call setVariable. And this time I want the variable to be the finalized JSON. So I'll make it a $$ JSON variable. That way I can have it even when the script is done, and I can look at it through debugger, analyze it, or use it to send off to an API somewhere. So I'll click specify here. And this is going to be very similar to creating the record itself, except there's a couple of rules when we make a JSON array. And we are going to use the set JSON element, just like we have been right along. And we will use the $$ JSON here as the item that we want to merge into or continue to build on. So I'll do that right away, set $$ JSON. Now here we need to create a new key which will contain all of this information. The name of the key will be contacts. So I'll put contacts here. And because we're making an array, I need to include the straight brackets. And within these brackets, I need to put the record number, or the item number, or the list value number, however you want to name that. It's the first item in the array. Now, I could hard code 0 here, and that would actually create a valid record, one valid record, but this needs to be more dynamic. So instead of putting a 0 here, I'll put a plus. The plus is a special symbol that indicates I'm creating a new list item, and this plus is smart enough to know where we left off in the JSON. So contacts, left bracket plus right bracket. The value will be the entire record. So $record. That's the JSON object that we captured from the previous script step, in this case, script step 2. So we're taking this entire record and putting it into the contacts key in the first slot, or the next slot, as the plus will indicate. The type is going to be JSON object. The entire object is going to be inserted into the first line item of the array. As you step back and look at this, it's written in a simple way with just a handful of words. But the meaning behind these words and how they operate is the tough part of understanding this. So take your time with this and go over several examples until you get it figured out and experiment. We'll continue to do that as this course evolves. But don't be totally overwhelmed if you don't quite understand what this is doing. It will make more sense as you see it unfold and as we run debugger. So I'll push OK now, and I'll push OK. So that will take care of creating a record and inserting that record as a line item in the array. Now, of course, I have to do some basic FileMaker work, which is to iterate over the records. So that's actually trivial by comparison. I'll just do a go to record request page first. So we'll start at the first record. We will need a traditional loop that will surround these two script steps. So we'll loop, create the record, continue the loop, continue the loop, continue the loop until we get to the last record. So we'll duplicate this record request page. We'll go to next, and we'll make sure that the exit after last is on. And that's all we need for this. So let's watch it unfold as we go through script debugger. So I'll go with script debugger. And actually, before I do this, I need more than one record. So let me add another record. I'll duplicate this record and I'll put in Sarah Jones, productive computing, age 30, mailing list 1, and one more for good measure, but let's change the company name, ABC Company, and we'll do Lisa Smith, age 25. Also on the mailing list. Okay, so I've got 3 contacts now. And I'll make sure script debugger is on, and I'll run the script. Create JSON all records. Here we go. So it goes to the first record, and let's bring up data viewer so we can see this unfold. I'll have it on the current tab. And here we are. We're going to create our record. So this should be no particular surprise because we've been working with this in the previous lessons, but it does create a properly formatted record. We've got our braces on either end, our keys and our value, key value, key value, key value with a comma between each field. And that's our entire record. Now, this part, $JSON, should now contain the key contacts with an array marker known as a left bracket. Here's the entire record, and then the right bracket to indicate the end of the array, and of course the right brace to complete the formatted JSON. So that's one record in a key called contacts. I'll continue on here, and we'll go to the next record. So here's the next record. No surprise there. Simply grabs the record information, and now it's going to inject that or insert it into the JSON. And we still have our original key, contacts. Here's one record, and here's the comma, and here's our other record. Now I keep saying record, but technically speaking, this is a value, a second value in the array, and then this is the first value in the array. But this value is more complex than just a simple number or simple text string. It encapsulates an entire JSON object, which in this case is a record. All right, and now we'll do this one more time. And now our JSON has 3 records, comma, here's the first comma, and here's the second comma. All right, now we've got this JSON. Why don't we do one more thing in our script, which is to format it properly. So after the loop finishes, let's do a set variable, $JSON, and we will tell this to format. I'll just put in the word format, and it says format elements. We'll just enter $JSON. And now I'll just run this quickly without debugger and look at the JSON. And now we have an absolute picture-perfect example of JSON formatted text. Our key is contacts. We can think of this as a table or an upcoming list. And we know there's an upcoming list because we see an array marker here with a left straight bracket. And then value, 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 and so forth. Now you might be wondering, wait a minute, what happened here? Why is there a duplicate? And the reason why there's duplicates is because we did not clear the JSON as the first part of our script. We just kept adding to it. So when I ran the script the first time, we had the first 3 records here, but then it just simply added 3 more records to the existing array, not knowing any better, because of this one feature where we are setting this variable JSON with itself. And this right here, when we set this first parameter with JSON itself, it's simply merging anything new after it into the existing JSON. So as a result of that, if we were to run this script multiple times, we would want to make sure that our very first script step, or somewhere near the first part of the script, that we clear the JSON from anything that we might have been working with prior to. Since we're using $$ variables, those are global variables, the only way to handle those is to clear them first. So clear it. Now when I run it, we should see, again, that picture perfect JSON, but this time it actually represents the 3 records in our system versus a duplicate of the 3 records. Okay, so this is one way to do it. But believe it or not, there are several ways to create an array. This is just one way. And this might be the easiest way to understand because you create the record, then you insert it, you create the record, you insert it. So join me on the next lesson where I demonstrate how to create both the record and the array in a single script step using a slightly different syntax in the calculation. Thanks for joining us on this lesson. To enroll in the free complete course, click on the link in the description or visit productivecomputinguniversity.com, where you'll find both free and paid courses on today's most important topics related to the Claris FileMaker platform.